Welcome to the next video in your Analytics Mastery course. In this video, we are going to have a look at some more features inside the audience reports. So in the previous videos, we have already discussed active user report, lifetime value, cohort analysis and audiences. So now let's have a look at User Explorer. So User Explorer in this case as a blogger is not going to be very useful for me. If you have a website where users are going to log in with a username and password, then you will be able to track specific users. Each user is going to have a client ID. So according to the privacy policy of Google Analytics, you will not be able to match these users with their email IDs within Analytics. However, you will be able to export these users and match them with your email IDs, and this requires a little bit of a technical setup, and this is applicable only for the sites with login. So if you are having a static website or if you are having a blog where there is no login required for people to consume the content, then you will be able to see this report just as different user IDs, but you will not be able to match these user IDs with your email list or something like that. So this gives you some insights, like you can see that there are certain users who are extremely engaged within the blog posts. You can see that this particular user has had 25 sessions, they have spent 15 minutes and the bounce rate is very less. So this user has been coming back to our site for a long time. So I can go ahead and select a different date range, and as I have explained in the previous videos, make sure that you always generate reports and tables for certain date ranges. Sometimes we will forget what date range we have selected and then we will generate the reports, but it might be throwing off false data. Like for example, if you are looking to have a look at monthly data and if only a week is selected, then it will be showing different information here which might confuse you. So make sure whenever you are using analytics, you always check the date range first. By default, it will show the data for the past 1 week. So here you can see, since I have selected March 1 to May 30, we have a larger set of data here, and you can see this particular user, I don't know who this person is, has come to the blog 157 times. So there are people like that who are extreme fans of my blog, and they would come back several times to read articles on the blog. 157 times, and then we have 101 times, 97 times. So this is not very less either, 77 times and 76 times. So these are probably some of my best customers. So this report right now, without matching it with your logins, will at least give you an idea about how deep certain users are actually using your website. So this is User Explorer, and now let's have a look at demographics. So inside demographics, I can click on overview, and Google Analytics will show me what is the kind of gender distribution and age distribution of my users. And here you can also go ahead and segment a specific type of user and look at metrics only for those users. So date range is the first one to check, and by default you will be looking at data for all users. And within all users, if you want to add a certain segment, let's say we want to look at demographic data specifically for direct traffic, or let's say organic traffic. I want to check the demographic data just for organic traffic, and I want to check the demographic data just for returning visitors. So now I can go ahead and click on apply, and you will be able to see the two different segments are displayed here, and you can also compare these two segments to see how the distribution is. So we have one section which is just organic users, and the another segment is returning users, and these two does not necessarily need to add up to 100% because this is not part of a whole. We are looking at organic users and we are looking at returning users, and there might be an overlap between organic users and returning users as well. Returning users might be coming from various sources, so if they have come from organic traffic, then there will be an overlap. You can also go ahead and compare two different segments which are actually competing with each other. Like for example, referral traffic and organic traffic is something that is going to compete with each other directly. So let me go ahead and take this particular comparison so that we have a better comparison. So let's see. So here you can see they are giving the age distribution of both, and you can see that we have 18 to 24 and 25 to 34. So this helps me build my customer avatars to understand who is my customer and who is our target audience. So you can see almost 50% of my visitors are in the age group of 25 to 34. This also helps me go ahead and create the right pricing strategy for my products, because if I am selling products primarily for people who are 18 to 24, then the price has to be a little bit less. But however, people who are in the age range of 25 to 34, they will be having a little bit more income because they have more work experience, and I will be able to price my products accordingly to the affordability of this users. So I have to go ahead and give it to the people and create my offers to the target segment, which is the biggest. So here you can see gender distribution as well. So let's see, we will go ahead and try to create a different segment and see if there is a completely different segment. So let me go ahead and select two different segments which are going to be having some difference. So let's say people who are coming from tablets, and let's say people who are coming from mobile. Let's see if there is any difference between these two segments of people in terms of demographics. So not much, the graph looks more or less the same. So here you can see tablet traffic age range and mobile traffic age range, and you can see people in the age group of 35 to 44 people are having a higher percentage of tablet traffic compared to the people who are in the age range of 35 to 44 but they are using mobile. So this might explain that early on, people when they are young, they probably don't have money to buy a tablet computer, they just have mobile. So you can see that the difference is not much. But when you look at these age groups 35 to 44, 45 to 54, 55 to 64, this particular segment definitely has higher numbers compared to this particular segment. So probably people who are just using mobile, they are not much. When the age goes up, they probably have money to buy tablets. So that can be explained by having higher amount of data in this particular. So you can start getting these kinds of insights when you do comparisons like this inside the demographic report. So this is overview. You can also go ahead and look just at age, and within age you will be looking at the same distribution again. So this is how the age is distributed. You can plot a chart for it, and you can go ahead and switch off one segment and go ahead and put all users again. So if you remove all segments, then it will go back by default to all users. So this is how you segment data within analytics. I have not included a separate lesson on segmentation alone because segmenting is something that I have explained in various videos while we were looking at different types of reports. So this is the segmentation area, and you just need to learn segmentation. It does not necessarily need a separate video unlike other courses have. So here you can see the age distribution. You can see 25 to 34 or the maximum, and then we have 18 to 24, then we have 35 to 44. So this is how it is distributed, and I can also do a metric comparison here. Like for example, if I want to look at site usage based on age distribution, then I will be able to get a graph like this. Obviously, this specific graph is very complex for us to go ahead and get data from. So here is where you can go ahead and plot certain rows. Like for example, here by default all this is selected. So here you will not be able to make any sense of this data if you are looking at a chart like this. It's just too complex even for advanced mathematicians and statisticians to go ahead and get data from this, right? So let's just plot one specific row. I want to plot just 25 to 34. I can just do a selection here and I will click on plot rows. So when I do that, then I will be able to see the difference between new users and percentage of sessions, because we have selected these two, and here you can see it's all user segment. So further you can also go ahead and put a different segment here, and you will be able to get data for that different segment. So let's go ahead and plot two rows. If we want, we can plot 25 to 34, and then we can plot 18 to 24 as well. So let me go ahead and click on plot rows again, and here you will be able to see that the chart is updated with a little bit more data. So this also happens within specific date ranges. I can change the date range just to May and I can start looking at the data. So you can see that there are multiple ways to slice and dice the same data. First, on the top level is the date range that you have to select, and you always have to check if you have selected the right date range. Sometimes it might be last year selected and you might be getting the wrong data, and sometimes if you are looking at the analytics data yourself and then you are going ahead and presenting it somewhere else live, then if the date range changes, then the whole analytics graph is going to look different. So first you have to make sure you have selected the right date range, and then you have to make sure that you have selected the right segments, and make sure that you see all users is selected, because that is the way we will look at it in a default way. And here you can have comparison metrics. So if you don't want comparison metrics, you can just remove this. Just click on the small X icon here and it will just give you data about the users who are selected here. So here you can see that I have plotted two sets of data from this table, and you can see orange is 25 to 34 and 18 to 24 is green. So you can see that's how you can understand how your website visitors are segmented. And similar thing you can do for gender. Obviously age has multiple data points because it has like 5-6 segments, and when it comes to gender we have male female. Here you can see there is a good distribution of male and female within my website visitors. I can go ahead and look at pie chart as well. You can see 58% are male and 41% are female. So in certain businesses you will be able to see that 90-95% will be male. Like for example, I know someone who has been working with a client, and this client has had a website about men's grooming, and they were surprised to find out that around 10% of the traffic were actually visited by female visitors. And probably the reduction was that it's not just because the website is about men's grooming only men are coming to the site. Maybe their female partners are coming to the site to understand more about men's grooming, and they may be influencing the men in their lives to go ahead and follow these grooming tips. So you will never know the truth until you look at the data, because a lot of people assume certain things, and you as a digital marketer might be working for a client who is having a very gender focused product or website or service, or you may be working for a company which is having an offering which is very gender focused. Like for example, there are many companies which serve only to the women audience. Like for example, in Bangalore there is a chain of salons called YLG salons, and they are only for the female members of the society. So maybe in such websites you will be able to see the distribution is going to be way different, which helps you understand your target audience and which helps you understand your customer avatars. So that is for the demographics report. Inside the demographics report we have looked at age report and gender report. So now let's go and have a look at interests. So interests is basically Google is going to try to categorize your audience interest on very broad categories. So this information particularly for you as a blogger might not be very useful. However, if you are a digital marketer for a big company or a big B2C company, then this kind of data is usually used in standard benchmarks and standard surveys and things like that. So based on the kind of data that Google has within Google Plus, or Google is probably looking at your search intent and things like that, Google is doing something to categorize Google's users based on where their affinity lies, where their interest lies. So this is going to give you some broad information about how your audience is distributed, and usually more often than not for generic bloggers or for a blog like digital marketing, this is going to have an even distribution, right? If I have a specific lifestyle blog or a fashion blog, then I might be looking at a very long graph here, and maybe in technology I'm going to see a very short bar here, right? So you can go ahead and have a look at affinity categories. So this will show you the different affinity categories, and Google will basically slice the existing data that you have based on affinity categories, and you might be able to get some insights if you are looking at some major difference in the numbers within these categories. Like for example, if you look at this list, I'm pretty much seeing the distribution to be very even, and especially when it comes to qualitative signals such as bounce rate, pages per session, or average session duration, I'm not able to see any major changes at all, which means that this particular distribution is especially not useful for me as a digital marketing blogger. So this is something that you can browse around and have a look at to see what is the different in-market segments and affinity categories. So in-market segments and affinity categories are basically like two broad classification types. So here you can see, employment, business services, software, and things like that. And again, just like we looked at the previous report, there is no major change in terms of looking at these numbers. So just now as I am making this video, I am observing that the submission goal conversion rate for this particular segment, employment, is a little bit higher than the others, and it makes sense because I am attracting a lot of people who want to learn on my site, and I am attracting a lot of people who want to get employment inside the digital marketing niche, right? So when I look at employment, you can see the submission goal conversion rate is a little bit higher, it's almost 2%. And when you look at education, test preparation, or tutoring, the percentage is a little bit higher. So obviously this is higher because this is the kind of crowd I am attracting, and people who are in the non-education sector such as software, the conversion ratio is a little bit less. So you can have a look at this specific report. You might be getting some insights from it, you might not be getting from insights from it, but one important thing is that you will be able to get insights from it only if you are having a significant amount of traffic to your website. If your website is having something like 100 visitors a day, it will be very difficult to put them across broad segments like this. So that's it for the interest report. Now let's go ahead and have a look at geo reports. So inside geo you have language and location. So language, our website is predominantly an English website, so you will be able to see English US is constituting 80%. English GB, I don't know what GB means, let's just Google it out. So we have English US, we have English UK. So yeah, so this is English UK. Instead of N-UK, they put it as N-GB, which is United Kingdom English. I don't know why they put it as GB instead of UK, but you can see that US English and UK English, they are the major traffic, almost 91%, and this distribution happens because sometimes in the browser settings or sometimes in their account settings, they would have mentioned that their language is different. So we also have French and other languages. You might be wondering how this came along. So what happens is that if someone from France is visiting my website, and Google Translate will give them an option to translate the website into French, and they might choose yes. So surprisingly, you can see I have had 101 visitors from France for the period May 1 to May 30, and these 101 users have actually translated my website into French. So where this will help is that if you are having a website that is having, let's say, most of the traffic from Germany, so you might want to consider going ahead and creating a site which is just for the German language. So this is language report, and then let's go to the location report. So inside location report, you will be able to see the map overlay, and this is something that is also available in the overview. As soon as you go into audience overview, you will be having this data there as well. So you can deep dive into this. Like for example, we can look at India and United States, two major countries from which traffic is coming to my blog, and if you select India, you will be able to see the distribution within India. You can see that Maharashtra has the maximum number of visitors to my site, and then we have Karnataka, and then we have Tamil Nadu. So we can also go ahead and change the primary dimension. So right now the primary dimension is region. So region is basically taken as the state in the country, and you can go ahead and check the city report as well. So if you click on city, you will be able to see which are the top cities people are coming from. So here is where the data really helps me. Like for example, I go ahead and write articles such as top digital marketing courses in Mumbai, and I have published a few articles like that. So let me go ahead and show you within my site. So digitaldeepak.com, let's say Hyderabad. So I have written an article about top 7 digital marketing training institutes in Hyderabad, and then I have written one article about top 10 digital marketing courses in Mumbai. So I am actually promoting my competitors here. So I am also selling a digital marketing training course, but you can see that I am actually putting information about all my competitors here. So why would I do that? So I would do that because when people are searching for this particular keyword, they are going to land on my site, and then they might be able to find out that I am also selling digital marketing courses, and then they may opt for my courses instead of their courses because my courses are competing at a different price range. So all this articles I have posted with multiple cities to attract my target traffic for free via SEO. I basically was able to come up with this list of cities to publish based on this list. So I looked at this list, I found out from which cities people are coming from, and then I went ahead and wrote articles like top digital marketing courses and training programs in New Delhi, in Hyderabad, in Pune. So all these pages gets me a lot of traffic. How much traffic, that we will see in the behavior reports. So inside behavior reports is where we are going to look at how many visitors came to each and every page within our site. So that is for behavior. Right now we are just looking at the audience in a broad perspective. So that's it for location reports. So you will be able to go ahead and use this location intelligently to find out where your best customers are coming from. In fact, I can go ahead and divide Mumbai into multiple regions, and within multiple regions I can go ahead and select top digital marketing courses for those regions. So right now Google Analytics does not show granular details. It doesn't show regions within a particular city because I don't think they are able to fetch that information. But you can go ahead and for example, I can go ahead and select the top 5 regions in Mumbai, such as Andheri and Nariman Point and things like that, and maybe I can write articles such as top 10 digital marketing courses in Andheri, top 10 digital marketing courses in Nariman Point, and that will give me more long tail traffic. So these long tail content strategies has been discussed more on the SEO course, which I highly recommend you go through if you have not gone through it. SEO is a very important part of digital marketing. So that's it for geo reports. So in this video we have looked at demographics, interests and geo, and in the next video we will have a look at behavior, technology, mobile and other features. So thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions from this particular video, go ahead and leave a comment below, and I will see you in the next video.